I should point out that many Balinese people and Balinese musicians are aware of declines in repertoires, in types of music, in types of instruments. And there's a genuine feeling among these people that they would like these repertoires and styles and instruments to be either revived or brought back into use or researched. But this differs across the whole island because in Bali it's not a concerted effort from any group of people working together. It tends to be very much individual musicians, individual groups, individual locations where things are happening. But there is genuine interest in revival and in reclamation and in documenting. And when I ask Balinese people what they think would be a good way to proceed, they come up with three general ideas. The idea that styles of music could be documented and archived is one that people suggest. That could be difficult to do because, as I said before, there is no concerted effort across the island that can be appealed to. But this is something that they've obviously seen happening in other situations, and they're aware that things can be archived, they can be put in repositories. A second thing that Balinese people sometimes mention is the fact that because projects tend to be very individual, some sense of what was happening right across the island would be a good idea. But of course they have no way of suggesting how that might happen because it's never been done. So there's no model there. And the third thing, and this is something that comes much more from the grassroots, this comes from people day to day talking with people in markets and in shops and in villages. What they're really keen on is that their children continue to learn to play instruments and to dance. They see this as really important in their lives, and that's partly for religious purposes, and that's well documented. But there's this other agenda at work here. And Balinese people talk about Ajag Bali, or sometimes they say Bali Kwat. Bali Kwat means Bali strong, Bali for itself, Bali individual. And they see the teaching and learning of Balinese performing arts as a really important way that Balinese identity can be kept alive and passed on to the next generation. And that to me seems much more interesting and much more doable, because Balinese performing arts are simply kept through performance. Repositories and archives are a great idea, but it's the fact that people can still do them that keeps them alive and passes it on from generation to generation. And the fact that this is the priority for parents, particularly with their children, that their children will learn to dance, their children will learn to play an instrument. This is what they see as the way to keep it alive. And maybe that's the best way to do it, is to just keep the children learning to do it and doing it then with their children and their children.